I'm on the island of Djerba in the south of Tunisia. On the 13th of February, 1943, the Germans arrived and demanded 50 kilos of gold. Just barefaced robbery. Someone on this island's got to remember that. Someone must have a link to that event, and that's what I'm here to investigate.
At the end of World War II, the Allies made a series of shocking discoveries. Hidden in trains, bunkers, and deep underground, they found mountains of stolen treasure.
That must have been like going into Aladdin's cave.
Hitler and the Nazis had looted an entire continent and committed the greatest theft in history. Now, a team of investigators is opening up cold case files of Nazi plunder still missing today.
We're talking about things that are worth tens of millions of dollars.
Robert Edsell is an expert in Nazi looted treasure.
Hundreds of thousands of objects are still missing. Well, we have a lot of digging to do.
Joining him is Second World War historian James Holland.
None of this was really his. He'd just taken it.
And investigative journalist Connor Woodman.
And this is a genuine treasure hunt. We dig a hole in the ground and we find those cases.
Their mission, uncover new clues.
Oh gosh, this is it.
Explore Nazi hideouts.
Whoever built this brick wall really didn't want anyone to get through to the other side.
Find out how the treasure was stolen and where it might be now.
What a piece of history.
The Monuments Men Foundation has found and returned dozens of Nazi-looted treasures to their rightful owners. At its Dallas HQ, Foundation President Robert Edsell briefs the team on a new case.
This case is Rommel's gold, one of the most enduring mysteries of World War II, involving one of Germany's great war generals and a treasure worth millions of dollars no one's seen in 70 years.
Rommel's gold is an estimated 50-kilo hoard of gold jewelry seized by the Nazis from Tunisian Jews during the battle for North Africa. The treasure then disappeared into Hitler's Reich, and no one has seen it since.
I love this story. I mean, I've heard this since I was a schoolboy. It's been doing the rounds for a long time, I mean, pretty much since the end of the war.
70 years is a long time for a myth to endure, and I think that's part of the effort here is to try and kill this thing one way or the other.
Well, it'd be absolutely amazing to get to the bottom of this one.
Tell me more about Rommel.
Rommel, well, he's the Desert Fox. He's the most famous of all German commanders. He's the scourge of the British in North Africa.
In 1942, Erwin Rommel led Hitler's Afrika Korps on a blitzkrieg across the Sahara in an attempt to conquer British-held Egypt and seize the oil fields of the Middle East and beyond. But Britain rallied and in late October defeated Rommel's army at the Battle of El Alamein, forcing the Desert Fox to retreat back across the Sahara. The legendary Field Marshal has been linked to the missing treasure. But historian James Holland doesn't believe he was behind the theft.
When he's commanding troops in battle, that is 100% his
Right.
focus, and that's what he's on. It's completely out of character for Rommel to go around looting stuff.
So you think it's possible that even though the legend is that it's Rommel's gold and it's stolen on Rommel's watch, it might not be actually Rommel that's doing the stealing?
Exactly.
Who else was in North Africa at the time while Rommel was there?
We do know there were Allgemeine SS, police SS, Gestapo and so on. They were coming to North Africa, particularly into Tunisia.
We have a lot of digging to do.
The SS was a fanatical paramilitary organization which used to terrorize civilian populations behind the front lines. And they were notorious looters. The SS commander in Tunisia was Colonel Walter Rauff, and he is the team's prime suspect. James Holland has come to North Africa to begin separating the truth from the legend surrounding the theft.
I'm here in Tunis, investigating the legend of Rommel's gold. That it's one of the most intoxicating treasure stories that exist. But in actual fact, it's nothing to do with Rommel at all. Rather, at the heart of this story is the persecution of Tunisian Jews. You know, these are the leads we need to be following.
Walter Rauff joined the SS in 1937. He was a friend and a personal aide to Reinhard Heydrich, one of the chief architects of the Holocaust. Under Heydrich, Rauff oversaw the development of gas fans used to kill tens of thousands on the Eastern Front in 1941 and 42. In November 1942, he was sent to Tunisia. Arriving in Tunis, Rauff immediately seized a city landmark for his base of operations. And it's here James hopes to pick up his trail more than 70 years later.
This is the Majestic Hotel in central Tunis. This is where Walter Rauff made his headquarters. I've got a couple of copies of documents here giving him the authority to take executive measures against the civilian population. Here, right at the top, is a word that kind of makes the blood run cold. Even today, it says SS Einsatzkommando. These are the squads that went in to carry out the Führer's will. And then here, the second document, this is Rauff's handwriting. And here he says, the Einsatzkommando arrived. In other words, I'm here to unleash my rule of terror, frankly. Incredible. Rauff had only been here a couple of weeks when he really started to turn the screws on Tunis's Jews. He demanded that 2,000 of them present themselves for forced labor here at the central station in Tunis. They were due to present themselves at 8 o'clock on the morning of the 9th of December, 1942. But when Rauff turned up here, there were only 128. The Jewish leaders just simply hadn't had the time in which to gather all those people together. Rauff went absolutely berserk. He started calling the Jewish leaders swines, dogs, scum of the earth, and he said, I'll show you what the SS can do to Jews.
Rauff and his SS henchmen began rounding up thousands of Jews at gunpoint and shipping them off to squalid camps set up across the country. Rauff brutalized Tunisia's Jewish population. But did he steal from them? To learn more, James is meeting an aide to the chief rabbi of Tunis.
When you think of the Holocaust, you think of European Jews. You don't think of it kind of extending all the way to North Africa.
Yes, we had labor camps in Tunisia. Also, there were Tunisian Jews that went to camps to Europe. They sent them to Auschwitz and so on.
Well, there's a guy I'm really interested in called Walter Rauff. I've got a photo here. This is Rauff. These, I think, are Jewish leaders.
Yes.
I mean, Moshe, this is a fascinating picture, isn't it? Because you can see Rauff in the corner, and he's sitting down, and he's making all these guys stand, not looking at them, no eye contact. He's just saying, I have no respect for you whatsoever. I mean, it couldn't be clearer, could it? And do you know what these guys are doing with Rauff? I mean, why are they there?
Because he asked them to give 20 million of francs.
So he's saying to them, you've got to give me lots and lots of money. And they have absolutely no choice in this at all.
Yes, if not, they will make the Jewish population suffer. So the leaders had to pay the price.
It was an extortion scheme Rauff would repeat time and again in Tunisia, squeezing community after community for massive sums of money under threat of enslavement or death. And Moshe says cash wasn't the only thing Rauff took from Tunisia's Jews.
Also, they took from Djerba, they took some gold there.
Really?
40 or 50 kilos.
Goodness me, that's a lot. What happened to it?
We don't know.
An island off the south coast of Tunisia, Djerba is home to an ancient Jewish community. In February 1943, Rauff dispatched an SS unit to plunder it. To find out what happened next, Moshe has arranged for James to meet Rafram Shaddad, a Tunis artist whose grandfather witnessed the Nazis' arrival in February 1943.
My grandfather used to be the president of the Jewish community in the island of Djerba. The Jews in Djerba, they are known for craft maker, jewelry maker.
Right.
They all have some kind of gold. If you go to a traditional Tunisian wedding, you're going to have the bride covered with gold. It's like on her ears, on everything.
Really? Okay, so they came to your grandfather and they came to the chief rabbi and they said, we want 50 kilos of gold and silver, and you've got to go and get it.
Yes.
And he didn't really have any choice in the matter.
They didn't have any choice. They heard about all the stories, what they can do to jewels and things. So my grandfather, the chief rabbi, was collecting this gold from house to house. Mostly jewelry from people, from shops.
So did your grandfather have any idea what this gold was for?
No, they just assume probably that it's for keeping the life of the remaining Jews.
Right, it's sort of like a ransom.
Like ransom, yes. It's for saving life.
And do you have any idea what happened to this gold afterwards?
No, they were collecting, and he brought it in Saturday to the Germans, and Sunday they just disappeared.
But do you think there'll be someone still alive who remembers that?
Maybe the oldest man in Djerba or something like that.
Right.
Armed with this new information, James sets out for Djerba to pick up the trail of Walter Rauff and his hoard of stolen gold. The team is investigating the legend known as Rommel's gold, the theft of a huge haul of gold from the Jewish community in Tunisia, orchestrated by notorious SS Colonel Walter Rauff. Historian James Holland has come to the Tunisian island of Djerba to investigate.
Walter Rauff knows there's an ancient Jewish community on the island of Djerba in the south of Tunisia, and that they have this reputation for being amazing jewelers and goldsmiths. And so he sends one of his officers to basically plunder this gold. Someone on this island's got to remember that. Someone must have a link to that event, and that's what I'm here to investigate.
Rauff's men had to work fast. Rommel's Africa Corps were in retreat. As the thieves pulled into the island's main town of Humat Souk on February 13th, 1943, the front line was just a stone's throw away. Their orders from Rauff were to swoop in, seize 50 kilograms of gold, and get out before the British took control of the area. To search for eyewitnesses, James has enlisted Moez Zgaya, a local expert on the island and its history.
So, Moez, this is obviously the main town, Hum Souk.
Yeah, that's the center of the island, and that's the main market area.
And you've got this street map here.
Yeah, there's an entire street here where you find all the gold shops.
And this is our best chance of finding an eyewitness.
Yeah, that would be the place to go to meet some people who have heard of the story of the stolen gold.
Fantastic. Okay, well, let's go there then.
At the time of the war, Djerba had been home to a sizable Jewish community for 2,000 years. Its intricate gold work was renowned throughout the Mediterranean.
Just going this way to the area where you have all the goldsmith shops.
Rauff's gang was about to turn this ancient community upside down. Rauff originally demanded 10 million francs in cash, but when Jewish leaders could not come up with the money, he changed his demand to 50 kilograms of gold.
God, it goes on and on. It's like a labyrinth.
They frantically gathered whatever they could from shops and homes. James is hunting for an eyewitness or anyone else who can provide details about how it unfolded.
No, he has no clue about the gold.
They inquire at shop after shop, but time, it seems, has all but erased any clear memory of the event.
تذكرش انت ولا حكالكش شي حد منها؟
تذكرهم يحكيوا عليها برشا ولا المان
أعرف الحكاية كيما برشا قريتها مرة نتذكرها شوية ولا سمعتها ليش دابا لو معناها احنا فيهم صغار وما يعيشوش.
They're making progress, but details are still frustratingly sketchy.
تذكرش معناتها كيفاش قداش هزوا مثلا قد ما سمعت انت.
قالوا 50 كيلو.
You heard the stories of 50 kilograms.
Yes. I'm interested to get a sort of a sense of how much 50 kilograms of gold is.
It's more than what the shop could have. Okay, so this is gold and it's traditional.
That doesn't feel very heavy, does it?
It's about 50 grams.
At 50 grams, Jewish leaders had to gather 1,000 gold bracelets to meet Rauff's demand. Even on Djerba, it's hard to imagine how they managed it, given so little time.
Seeing this like this, it makes you really realize that 50 kilos is a heck of a lot of gold, isn't it?
It is.
It's becoming clear the market wasn't the only site on Djerba plundered by the Nazis. Back on the street, they get a promising lead.
There's a cafe where this time of the day we have all the elderly sitting there, and they might be a good source of information.
Does he remember any stories of the Germans actually coming here and demanding money?
He was about 12-year-old.
Really?
He said they didn't do anything to us, but we were scared because we know or we heard of stories of what happened to other Jews in other places.
And was his family robbed at all?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
What did they take from his family? Rings?
They went to the synagogue too.
Really? Is that nearby?
Yeah.
Let's go there.
James sets out for the El Ghriba synagogue to follow this new twist in the gold story.
So, would the synagogue have treasures in there as well?
Sure. It was used as a home of treasure for the community.
Right.
Because that's the safest place you would have on the island.
Jews have been worshipping on this site continuously for 2 millennia. Inside, James and Moez are meeting the synagogue's keeper, Perez Trebelsi, whose parents, they're told, actually witnessed the Nazis' sack of the building.
Bonjour. And we're investigating the pillaging that the Nazis did in 1943, and we know that they came to the synagogue here. We're just interested to know if you know anything about that.
وقت كانت صار الحرب 41 جاوا الالمانوني جاوا الغريبه ويحبوا 5 كيلو ذهب او لا يقتلوا اليهود جا معنا بعدين ولاو ربع عطاهم الذهب تاع الغريبه.
So here in the synagogue they had quite a lot of gold and treasures and things that were plundered.
اكيد ذهب اكيد في هذاك المنطقه تشوف فيها كان اكتو فزره اما كان ذهب قبل.
That was all gold. It was all taken, replaced by silver.
No.
Yeah.
Gosh, and what are all these?
These are all donations brought by people who lost somebody. Like here he said it's the name of a father who died on so-and-so such day.
Yes. And so they just came in and took it all?
Yeah, that which is today is silver. That was all gold.
It was a devastating blow to the community. Centuries of deeply personal expressions of love and faith, painstakingly etched in gold, all gone in a matter of minutes. This was Rommel's gold.
You can imagine the Nazis coming in, smashing the glass, just ripping it off with just no sense of any respect at all. I mean, for them, it's just gold. It's booty, it's loot. It's kind of making the hairs on the back of my neck stand up just looking at it now. It's a terrible thing. And you just wonder where it is now.
He said nobody knows where that stolen gold actually ended up.
Well, maybe we can get to the bottom of it. Who knows?
As quickly as Rauff's men arrived, they were gone. With their haul of irreplaceable personal treasures. But in May 1943, the Allies finally drove the Nazis from North Africa. Walter Rauff fled back to Europe. Tunisia's Jewish population survived his reign of terror, suffering comparatively few fatalities. But he had extracted a heavy toll in cash and Djerba's gold.
We started with the legend of Rommel's gold, but since I've been here on Djerba, I actually met someone who was here when the SS came and stole all that gold. But the big question is, where did it go from here?
Back in Dallas, the research team is looking for answers.
So Rauff leaves Tunisia when?
May 10th. He goes to northern Italy.
Okay. Rauff shows up in northern Italy. Do we know whether or not when he gets to Milan he's got the gold?
No, nobody knows, actually.
Following Rauff's escape from Tunisia in May 1943, the treasure simply disappeared from history.
There might be a hint in this.
What's this?
Ian Fleming, actually.
James Bond. You're kidding me.
He writes, then there was this mysterious business of Rommel's treasure supposed to be hidden beneath the sea somewhere off Bastia.
In Corsica.
In Corsica, yeah.
Ian Fleming was the author of the world-famous James Bond novels, starting with On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which included a mysterious reference to Rommel's treasure. It sounds like a strange lead, but earlier, during the Second World War, Fleming was a British naval intelligence officer assigned to the Mediterranean Theatre of Operations. He later drew on his experience as a spy as source material for his novels.
A lot of times where there's smoke, there's fire. So I guess the place to be looking, according to James Bond, is Bastia.
Investigative journalist Connor Woodman hits the ground in Corsica to see if there's any truth to the James Bond connection.
Ian Fleming's book continues to talk about the mysterious business of Rommel's treasure. He says that it was here in Corsica, and he knows that because a Czech diver called Peter Fleig came here in 1948 with this fantastic story about how Rommel's gold had been buried, sunk off the coast of Bastia, a Corsican town. Now, was Peter Fleig a real person? Did Ian Fleming make him up? I don't know. That's what I'm here to find out.
Today, Bastia is a bustling port city and popular tourist destination. But back in the summer of 1943, it was occupied by the Axis powers and would have provided a safe haven for Rauff and his looted gold. The question is, did Rauff bring Djerba's treasures with him? Connor's search for answers begins with Terry Hodgkinson, who's been investigating the legend of Rommel's gold here on Corsica for over 20 years.
So, Terry, where does Corsica fit into the story of Rommel's gold? Why do we think it was ever in Corsica at all?
Well, in 2005, there was a secret document released by the CIA called The Corsican Episode. If you read from here...
OK, so July 6th, party arrived in Corsica, SS troopers. Oh, Rauff is actually named here. We know then from this paperwork that Rauff was here, the SS were here. It makes sense, as you say, that they brought the gold via this route. But did anyone actually see the gold?
Maybe. This is a picture of the man who started it all. His name was Peter Fleig, or also known as Walter Kierner. He was a corporal in the Leibstandarte SS, and he was the one who started off the whole legend in Corsica.
And now, Peter Fleig, I recognise that name because he appears in the Ian Fleming Bond book.
Yeah, on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
But you're saying he was actually a real guy?
He was a real person. In June 1948, he presented himself to the French consulate to ask for a visa to go and visit Corsica. And the French said, well, why do you want to go to visit Corsica? You know, it's still a military zone.
Suspicious.
Yeah. So the French actually interrogated him. This is a copy of the original document.
This is the original document from 1948?
Yeah, and it tells a story how Peter Fleig claimed to be a diver who had been forced by the SS to come to Corsica to help sink the treasure off this part of the coast down here.
Wow. It's a hell of a story.
What the French did was effectively arrest him. And there was a great meeting by the French authorities saying, all this loot has been sunk. This is one of the people who did it. We will invest 1 million francs, which was quite a lot of money at the time, to go and look for it.
Led by Fleig, a French dive team scoured the sea floor off Bastia for over a month, but found nothing. Did one of Fleig's fellow SS thugs beat him to the treasure? Or did he simply lie about the gold's true location, intending to return later and retrieve it for himself?
Did Fleig ever write down where he thought the treasure might be buried?
Well, he did, as a matter of fact. This is a photograph that he carried throughout the war. This is him, this is his mother and father. On the back of the photograph are a series of numbers and a series of lines which appear to indicate where the treasure was buried.
Just off the coast?
Yeah.
Here?
Yeah.
Fleig's cryptic diagram is a tantalizing piece of evidence. But there's only one way to find out if it really is a treasure map. Connor is going to use it on an undersea hunt for Rommel's gold. A team of investigators is on the trail of a hoard of gold stolen by the Nazis. The hunt has taken them from Tunisia.
Nobody knows where that stolen gold actually ended up.
To Corsica.
All this loot has been sunk off this part of the coast down here.
Wow. Connor Woodman has learned that SS Colonel Walter Rauff ordered a team of SS divers to stash the gold off the Corsican coast.
On the back of this photograph are a series of numbers and a series of lines which appear to indicate where the treasure was buried.
And this cryptic diagram may be a map to the treasure. Connor has enlisted the help of a local dive expert to put the evidence to the test.
So this is the coordinates that were drawn on the back of a piece of Fleig's photograph. You've seen this before?
Yes, I see. Terry sent me this position, but I don't understand all the number. Where is the position? I don't know.
Do we have any reference?
One reference, I think, if you put like this,
oh yeah,
perhaps it's Bastia, and this is the coast.
Stefan has a hunch this line on the map is in fact the Corsican coast. It's a theory backed up by the existence of an intriguing landmark Fleig mentioned in his interrogation.
Perhaps this is the position of the plane.
What is the plane? Tell me more about the plane.
Fleig said the treasure is near a small plane with one motor.
A sunk plane?
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So we dive on this plane.
Okay.
It's an adventure.
It's an adventure, it is, yeah.
Fleig told the French authorities the gold was packed in 6 cases hidden near a sunken plane. Connor descends, and just as Stefan promised, the ghostly image emerges of an American P-47 Thunderbolt fighter. It's eerily peaceful. But did Rauff's men stash the Djerba gold here, or somewhere nearby?
It's a beautiful single-motor plane. I mean, just like Fleig said, intact on the bottom. And I mean, if X marks the spot, there it is. There's where to start searching from. But then broaden the search out, and suddenly you're looking for a needle in a haystack because there's just miles and miles and miles of sea kelp, you know, grasses on the bottom. And I mean, for 6 boxes of gold down there, you could be looking for the next 62 years, you might not find them.
Yes, this is the name, legend.
Yeah.
It's possible the gold remains hidden somewhere nearby. But back in Dallas, the investigation has taken a new turn. The research team has unearthed compelling evidence presented at the post-war Nuremberg trials of Nazi war criminals.
This statement is about SS loot and what was done with it.
What they did with the stuff that they stole?
Yeah, here is mentioning of this pawn shop. It says that all jewelry, gold, silver, was
delivered to that specific pawn shop in Berlin?
That's right.
At its height in 1942, Hitler's empire covered a vast area. Personal jewelry and other small items looted from occupied territories were sent back to the Berlin Municipal Pawn Shop for appraisal.
We're talking about scrap gold, we're talking about poor people's gold. It was all scraped together and made to money.
So if Rauff's being a good SS officer, what he stole would have gone to the pawn shop.
Connor arrives in Berlin to find out more about the pawn shop. and whether the Djerba gold ever passed through its doors. Christoph Kreutzmüller is a historian with an in-depth knowledge of Nazi looting.
So, Christoph, I'm on the trail of the gold that was stolen from Tunisia. If that gold made its way to Germany, what would have happened to it?
If it went to Germany in 1943, then it would have gone here. Das ist das Leihamt der Stadtgemeinde Berlin. So it's the pawn office of the city of Berlin.
Why a pawnbroker? Why a pawn office?
Because they were the people who could assess the quality of the gold, what the price would be.
Right. So if the SS, let's say, had taken the Tunisian gold and brought it here to Berlin, what would have happened to it after that, once it arrived here?
It was just gold in bits and pieces, so it would have been melted down into gold bars, given a number, an official number, and then traded abroad.
Right. So, so that Tunisian gold, if it did come through Berlin and it was melted down, now it could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Or everywhere. I could be wearing it now, for all I know, on my finger.
I'm afraid so.
I mean, it's kind of creepy.
During the war, the Berlin Municipal Pawn Shop quietly processed untold riches torn from the hands of rightful owners, turning them into profit for the Reichsbank and funding for the Nazi war machine. The question is, did Walter Rauff send his stolen riches back to Berlin? Few of the pawn shop's wartime records survive, but Christoph has discovered a document from February 1943 that details the processing of a large shipment of gold.
This is a translation of an original document from the Nuremberg trials.
This is February 1943, which suggests that this activity was going on around the same time as the gold was looted from Djerba.
No, it proves. It actually proves.
Do you think that it's possible that the Djerba gold was being processed here around the same time?
That's all. That's what you can see. But I wouldn't go any step further.
So we don't know for sure that the Djerba gold passed through here?
No.
According to Christoph, there's a real chance the stolen gold passed through this pawn shop, but there's no proof. The team now turns its attention to tracking Walter Rauff. Is it possible he kept some or even all of the Djerba treasure for himself? On April 30th, 1945, Berlin fell to the Soviets, and Hitler committed suicide. Across Europe, the last pockets of Nazi resistance began surrendering. Among them, Walter Rauff's SS headquarters in Milan. To find out what happened next, Connor is on his way to see the man who knows more about Rauff's life than anyone else, his biographer, Professor Martin Coopers.
This is Rauff at the end of the war, is it?
Yeah, this is late April 1945, when he surrendered with his troops in Milan.
He's just been arrested, end of the war. Everyone else is hiding their face from the camera, not Rauff. Rauff's almost looking proud of himself. He knows that he could face the death penalty, but he shows no remorse in this photograph.
No regret. He's a murderer.
So what happens to him then after the war?
He was interrogated by a British officer.
You've got his interrogation document.
Yeah, exactly. What I find quite fascinating is the conclusion.
He's cunning and shifty rather than intelligent. His contempt and everlasting malice towards the Allies are but slightly concealed. Considered a menace if ever set free, and failing actual elimination is recommended for lifelong internment.
Not a likable guy.
But is he interned for life?
No, Rauff, in fact, escaped in late 1946, and that's the beginning of his lifelong lasting flight all over the world.
Now a fugitive, Rauff boldly embarked on one of the most notorious post-war careers of any Nazi criminal. In 1948, he surfaced in Syria, joining that nation's war against the emerging state of Israel. In 1949, he crept back to Europe and arranged secret passage to South America, eventually settling in Chile. A 1978 letter to relatives back in Germany provides a chilling snapshot of his life there.
Rauff wrote to his nephew that he is drinking and celebrating on April 20th.
Hitler's birthday.
Hitler's birthday, exactly. He sang with his friends Nazi songs. So we know that Rauff lived alive, celebrating the splendid Nazi period.
So not only does he get away with it, but he laughs in the face of it, doesn't he? He's built a little bit of the Third Reich for himself over there.
He was Nazi until his very end. Yeah.
As footage of his funeral reveals, Rauff and his comrades never stopped believing in the Reich. Walter Rauff, mass murderer and the real thief behind Rommel's gold, lived nearly 40 years after the end of the Second World War. The team's task now is to find out if he did it with the help of Djerba's stolen treasures.
How does he get away with it?
The team is on the trail of SS Colonel Walter Rauff, the man who stole the treasure known as Rommel's gold. They've discovered he escaped Allied custody in 1946.
That's the beginning of his lifelong flight all over the world.
And eventually made his way to Chile, where he lived for over 25 years. On May 14th, 1984, Walter Rauff died of a heart attack at the age of 77 and was laid to rest in Santiago. He never faced justice for killing an estimated 100,000 Jews. The question is, did he finance his incredible escape to Chile using the Djerba gold?
This is a report by the German Bundesnachrichtendienst, the German Secret Services, on Walter Rauff, where they say Rauff, from 1958 to 1962, was working for them. And they
You've got to be kidding me. Now he's working for the German intelligence service.
Yes, and there's mentioning of him appearing in Rome after May 45. Auffallend war, dass seinerzeit über einen Koffer mit Gold- und Schmucksachen verfügte. So he has a suitcase on him with gold and jewelry, über deren Herkunft keine Auskunft gab. He did not want to talk about where they came from.
That very well could be the things he's stolen from Tunisia. This is a smoking gun that we've been looking for. I mean, it's the most tangible piece of information that we've got, that we've found so far as evidence that he might have taken these things. We've got to head off to Chile and follow this lead.
James Holland has come to Chile to learn more. He's tracked down a former Allied intelligence officer, Rudi Heimann, who not only served in the Tunisia campaign, but also kept a watch on Walter Rauff and other escaped Nazis. They meet at the city's main synagogue.
So Rudi, after the war, you were living here in Santiago in Chile, and you ended up working for the Wiesenthal Center as an intelligence gatherer on an informal basis.
Oh yes, when I came to Chile, I discovered the paying officer of Odessa.
And Odessa was the rat line that was the organization that was set up to help former SS and Nazi war criminals escape from Europe into South America and wherever.
Yes.
Aided by fellow SS men and their sympathizers, thousands of Nazi criminals managed to flee Europe after the war to avoid prosecution and the hangman's noose. Among them, Klaus Barbie, the notorious butcher of Lyon, Dr. Joseph Mengele, who conducted inhuman experiments on captive Jews in Auschwitz, Adolf Eichmann, the man who organized mass deportations to the death camps, and Walter Rauff. Concerned these criminals might organize and rise again, Rudi and other volunteers in Chile continued to watch them long after the war was over. Rudi managed to identify a paymaster, a man responsible for doling out secret financial support to fugitive war criminals, possibly funded in part by wartime looting.
We covered the Odessa paymaster 24 hours a day. So we find out he had a small office, which he open twice a month.
Right, and then you watch who comes and goes.
Yeah, those who came to the paymaster's office to collect their money.
According to Rudy, the Nazi fugitives knew they were likely being watched and sent proxies to pick up their blood money. This made suspects on the secret payroll difficult to identify.
And do you know whether Rauff was directly benefiting from the monies that the paymaster was handing out?
I don't know. We suspect, but we don't know. We know that he got money, but I don't know whether he brought the money with him or whether he had some financing through Odessa.
For Rudy, keeping a close eye on escaped Nazis like Rauff wasn't just a job, it was deeply personal. A German Jew who escaped Berlin in 1938, he later joined the Allied war effort against his Nazi oppressors.
So Rudy, as a Jew yourself and someone who was forced to leave their home country, what did you feel about someone like Rauff as a free man here in Santiago in Chile?
That was awful, of course. Yeah. We think that a war criminal, he is not being condemned, it's just awful. But that's the way it is.
You know, I'm really struck by the parallel lives of Rudy Heimann and Walter Rauff. You know, both were German. One was a Jew who managed to escape and then fought for the British. The other served with the SS. You know, and both were in Tunisia, one liberating the Jews, the other stealing from them and making their lives a misery. And both end up here in Santiago, in Chile. And we know that Rudy was involved with intelligence gathering on former Nazis, but tantalizingly, we're not yet closer to finding out what happened to that gold, those riches that Rauff stole.
But there's still one last clue to be investigated, found here in the 1984 funeral footage. This is Walter Rauff's grandson, and he still lives here in Santiago.
I've just been given a really good lead. This is the number of his grandson. It's ringing. Hello, is that Walter Rauff?
Walter III has never spoken publicly about his grandfather before, but James has persuaded him to meet. Now he's about to hear from a man who knew Walter Rauff intimately and may know what happened to the Djerba gold. But at the last minute, Walter III refuses to appear on camera, although he does still agree to talk. He tells James that he's vehemently opposed to Nazi ideology and wants to distance both himself and his family from his grandfather's bloody past. They talk for nearly an hour, and then he's gone, leaving James to make sense of what he's just heard.
I've come such a long way to talk to Walter Rauff's grandson, Walter III, and he was at least willing to tell me about his memories of his grandfather. The grandfather of his memory and this notorious war criminal who has the deaths of perhaps 100,000 Jews on his hands. I found it very hard to kind of sort of match the two, and yet he wasn't denying what his grandfather had done either. He said that cannot avoid what happened, what he did to the Jews. He once asked his grandfather about his time in the war, but his grandfather wouldn't talk to him about it. It was a sort of forbidden subject, and he never raised it again. And he also said that in his experience, he never saw any sort of meetings with other Germans or other suspicious types or anything like that. You know, he found the idea that his grandfather was here in Chile and rich on stolen gold. I mean, he just found that laughable. He said he always kept accounts of how much he'd spent, which implies that here's a man who's careful with money, but someone who's not particularly well off either. You know, it's not the sort of carefree spending of someone who's got lots of looted gold in their pockets.
The hunt for Rommel's gold has taken the team from Tunisia.
That used to be all gold.
to Corsica.
It's an adventure. It's an adventure.
Germany.
This does suggest that they were processing looted gold.
But it proves.
And Chile. Evidence suggests the treasure may have been buried at sea or turned into bullion to finance the Nazi war machine. But other clues
He has a suitcase on him with gold and jewelry.
suggest Walter Rauff may have escaped with at least some of the treasure.
You know, when I talked to Rauff's grandson, he was painting this picture of just an old man, his grandfather, living out his final years in a very solitary way. You know, just a quiet old man, minding his own business, not at all political. But it's hard not to conclude, looking at that this was a man who went to his grave without regrets, without remorse, and frustratingly for us, with the secrets of Rommel's treasure too.